Hello.
Hello.
Good morning, Sallie Dent Porth.
Well, good morning, John Bronte. How are you?
I'm good. How's everything going?
Everything's great.
Are
How
you
about
out at the farm in Cameron, South Carolina right now?
I am?
How- I miss that farm.
You need to come. You need to come see me at the farm. Gary,
Dude,
Gary just planted a huge garden.
oh my gosh. How's the front porch?
It's great. You haven't. We've got a new front porch. We redid the front porch, so you need to come sit on
Oh, I
it.
do. I do. We'll have some simple syrup lemonade and everything.
That's right. That's right.
Well, Sallie, thank you for being a guest today on the John Bronte Show. I first met Sallie back in, I think, around 2013. I was bringing a local pimento cheese product to market and got involved with the South Carolina Specialty Food Association, of which Sallie was a big part then and even larger part now. And Sallie was a big help to me in getting started in just selling local products and how to navigate that scene. And especially once I started trying to distribute the products, I remember driving from Charleston to Myrtle Beach many times and talking to Sallie the whole time about different strategies and ways we could sell these products. And a lot of good memories there. So thanks for that, Sallie, by the way.
Well. Thank you for having me. And listen, I miss the most you out there distributing our products. I
Yeah.
I love what you're doing now, but I sure do miss you
Yeah.
spreading
It,
the love.
I should have been distributing Oreos along with the product or something like that because, they sell cheap and fast and all that. But I
Right.
really miss, what I miss about being out there on the road and doing that is demoing the products. And I think that as we get into the conversation, you'll probably tell us, what a big instrument demoing products is live and in person and giving samples to everybody. But before we get started with that, Sallie, give us a little bit of your backstory. I know right off the bat you won Garden and Gun Made in the South award, and then I think the next year you were Oprah's favorite things. What led up to you going in the jam business?
Well, I can assure you it was not planned. We've just now written our first business plan 11 years later, but basically, I was making jams for my hobby when I moved back to Cameron, South Carolina, farming community. Um, I had all this bounty of stuff all around me, and my husband Gary just kept bringing stuff in the back door. So I was just trying to preserve it and not waste all the labors of produce that were coming in my back door. So my mother-in-law taught me how to make jam. She's famous for her peach jam. I don't make just plain peach jam anymore because that's her thing. So anyway, so that's what started it. And then I was encouraged to enter that Garden and Gun Made in the South contest right when it first started. So we did. And that is really what forced me to start a business, because the rule was if you got, recognized, or if you were chosen, you had to be willing to sell your product. So we launched the company literally online, in concert with being chosen as one of the Made in the South winners. So
Wow, that's some quick thinking on your feet, and you probably haven't stopped with needing to think on your feet since then.
no, the small artisan specialty food business is always, there's always something to do. You wear every hat, many hats. I jokingly tell people my hats are all the way, to the ceiling and back. So
Right?
yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. I think any small business person can definitely relate to that. Tell us about and then the next year for Oprah. I mean, these are huge accolades that to right off the bat get Garden and Gun Made in the South award, and I believe that was with the strawberry basil jam.
Yes, it was, and they wrote about the fig sweet onion rosemary, that I had just created. So I had to quickly pick up
Hmm.
the speed on that one and get it ready to be available. So
Right. Yeah.
yeah. Anyway.
Again, not an easy task. And so how about getting the call from Oprah? Or how did that all? Because Oprah was still on the air when you got favorite things.
Well, the year that we got it, they brought back they had a TV. The Oprah's favorite things was actually a TV show that they brought back.
Uh,
So they weren't on the air every year, but it was a special edition. So we went to the fancy food show, and that's where they discovered us. Was there? That particular year it was in Washington D.C., not New York.
mm.
So yeah, it was very exciting when we got the phone call. They don't tell you when they're coming around. I didn't know who they were, but right after they left our booth, somebody said, "Did you know that was Oprah's people?" And I went, "No, I didn't." So
Oh, were you about to find out?
yeah. Anyway, so that was huge for us. And then right after that, we were doing everything. I quit my real paying job. So I was doing everything I could to make this, business successful. So I
Right.
quit my job. So we were creating recipes and doing everything with the jams, from not just putting it on a piece of toast or a biscuit. We were making paninis and salad vinaigrettes and desserts with the jams. And then I started making cocktails with the jams. Um, Blueberry lavender mojito was my first cocktail, and then that right after the Oprah's favorite things, we launched our line of simple syrups, because of all the work we were doing with creating the recipes. So we were kind of challenged to bring a product to market that we could pour easily and not have, you know, chunks in it. So that's what started our line of simple syrups.
Right. And yeah, this is it's really fascinating how, and I think for the listeners at home, this isn't normal. Like, it's not normal to win something like Garden and the Gun, and then the next year get Oprah's favorite things. And um, would you have done it differently now? Do you think, oh, I wish it had gone slower or anything like that? Or
No, I'll tell you the one thing that if I would have known back then what I know now, I probably wouldn't have done any of this, because you don't realize what you're getting into. Had I known, I probably would have made a lot more mistakes, because I would have been trying to overcome the huge hurdles that I knew about versus just running into
right.
them.
Yeah, it
So,
was more survival. It's more survival mode in the beginning of, okay, how do I survive and how do I keep this going and how do I answer all
exactly.
these demands that are all of a sudden rolling in?
And
You know, what is that like? Is there, do you think are you driven by fear during that time?
yeah, fear of failure was a big part of it, because I had pretty much left everything that I had worked really hard for 30 years. And yes, I did not want to fail, was what drove me. And um, there are lots of hurdles and things you need to learn about the food
Uh,
industry before you dive into it. And had I known all of that, I'll be honest, I probably would have not dove into it. I would
mhm.
have, yeah, I would have thought a lot more about it. But we plowed through all of that, and we're still standing
There,
11
yeah,
years later. So
exactly. And even writing a business plan already.
that's right.
um, so Sally, what was your job before the jam business?
I was in pharmaceutical slash medical sales for almost 30 years, and yeah, so I did a lot of business development. Um, the last 10 years of my career in the field of reproductive medicine.
Oh,
So, yeah, I had been on the airplanes and all over the place. So I was ready to slow down a bit. I didn't know, though, I was going to speed up.
yeah. The food business is not slowing down.
No.
So now, do you so how you started off with the three flavors? Did Was it Oprah that said you need to have three flavors or something like that?
No, actually, I had six flavors that and
Okay.
and Oprah narrowed it down for us. The three flavors that they chose. to highlight in our trio box were now the three that, well, we really have four top sellers, but those were the three that those were her favorites, and they quickly became our best sellers: the blueberry lavender, strawberry basil, and the peach pepper ginger. And then our fig sweet onion rosemary has always been, a best seller. So
Hmm.
those are the ones that our top four that we sell the majority of those flavors.
Right. The herbs and the fruits together, I can attest, are all very unique and just excellent flavors. And I really, demoing, I got to try jams and cheeses and even jams and pork. And I know it's a big Southern thing to do it that way, but I, still a big crowd pleaser. Blue cheese crumbles with blueberry lavender on top of it, and it was always fun teaching that to people. And here's a great way to look like you're the most creative hostess in the world or host in the world, is have this blue cheese crumbles with blueberry lavender jam or blueberry lavender and this lemonade. And so the simple syrups being born out of that was interesting. How many products do you have in your line right now?
Oh gosh. Well, we have 10 flavors of jams, and then we have four um, flavors of the simple syrups. But we make those in different sizes. We have small 5 ounce, then our regular retail size, and then we also supply food service. We sell a lot to restaurants and bars. Is in our food service size. So I think it's probably about 24 different SKUs that we have now.
Wow.
Yeah, somewhere thereabouts. So
That is not easy to keep up with, and really in just 11 years, it's quite an accomplishment. And I don't think that, well, you didn't realize it in the beginning, and I don't think the normal person would realize just how big of an accomplishment that is, and what a task. How how do you so well, let me, before I go there, you're in you're in Whole Foods, you're in grocery stores.
we're Whole Foods, Lowe's Foods, Total Wine carries our products. Fresh Market, we're in the Fresh Market. They carry our products, and then we sell to the small specialty um, shops. And
It,
now we a lot of these distilleries and breweries that now are having retail. They have retail shops. We sell a lot there, and then our food service. We're real excited about the growth in our food service with the restaurants using the jams to create all kind of stuff. I call it, our jams are an ingredient for a sophisticated trained chef. So they do all kind of fun stuff with our jams, with their different dishes and recipes.
right. One, I can attest to that at Crave. Of course, we have the jars on the shelves of jams and syrups, and those do real well. And then, of course, we have the fig sweet onion rosemary on the menu all the time. And then one of our top selling specials is the peach pepper ginger jam with pulled pork, caramelized onion, Swiss cheese on rosemary focaccia, like flavors that not being a trained chef or sophisticated palate by any means, would never think of. And man, is that a good sandwich! It's my favorite special that we do. And many people that go to Crave can definitely say that as well.
Well, I get people all the time to talk about Crave and how much they love everything that you offer, and you were one of the first people that put our jams on a menu. So we're
Oh,
very
good.
appreciative of that.
Well,
So
good. I'm glad we were trendsetters. That's awesome. So, what about like, where in the Whole Foods? Are you throughout the country in Whole Foods, or?
no, we're primarily in the South. We approved for the South region. So South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, and Alabama, the South region. We were in Texas several years ago. But when you're a small company, it's really difficult to service that far away. So we made a decision to really focus on the local, regional, local um, business out there, and that's been really good for us.
Hmm.
It's
I think the key word is focus. And because when we get into these products, or we're sitting in our kitchen and we're making a barbecue sauce, I'm acting like I can make a barbecue sauce, but speaking from people that make their grandfather's favorite recipe, that takes it to the reunion, and everybody says you should bring this to market, and then that's their dream, and they want to be all over the world. And the reality is that that's a lot of money and time. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yes, it's a lot of money and time. And in the food industry, the bigger you try to get, the smaller your margins. So it's very costly to take a product to market, and even more costly to take it farther away you go, the more costly it gets. And you have to get into these big box distributors, and they're going to get their cut. It just keeps adding on more and more layers of expense that it makes it really, really difficult. And then, as far as going into a market that they really don't know you, it's not in your back door, then the expense of doing the demos and you know marketing the product, it's really difficult, almost impossible for a small business to do that effectively um, by themselves. It's a huge investment. So, and we learned that there's so much right around us. You really don't have to do that. Almost this day and age, people are really seeking out. They want the locally sourced products that are available. They don't really want to go that far to get something, if that makes any sense. So
Oh, oh, yeah, yeah. Which is great for a small business, and kind of the reason that there's been such a focus on buying local is that for a small business not to have to keep up with that demand, or think they have to keep up with that demand, or build that audience far away. What did and this is a topic. What did COVID do to you? How did it affect you?
well, initially it shut us down for a couple of months. Not totally, but when the restaurant industry got shut down, that definitely affected us. But on a long term picture, COVID actually, you know, we actually weathered it really well. When things started coming back, it actually, some of our sales increased because more people were shopping online. Our online business increased, and our accounts like Crave that continued on, we actually increased our sales in those accounts because people were looking for stuff that they could come and pick up and take
Mm,
home. And you know so we weathered it pretty well, and I'm very thankful for that. But it was because we were local.
uh,
We could produce it, and you know we have had some supply issues. That's been a challenge, but we've weathered those. We had to change our bottles, and one run we might have had to change our tops to black instead of gold, but
yeah,
which was frustrating. But we have managed to weather through that, and it's because of the nature of our business. We're sourcing local and not having to go afar to get all of our ingredients and such. So
exactly. And you mentioned online sales. How is that managed? Like, you pack it and ship it. I believe yesterday you were in the what you call the jam shack packing up orders. Is that?
yes, because Brittany was off. Wednesday is our packing and shipping day when FedEx comes by to pick up Wednesday and Thursday. So when she's off, that's totally turns into my my responsibility. So yes, I was over there actually packing and shipping wholesale and online orders. Yep, we do all of that. We ship our most of our small orders go out through the post office, and then our bigger wholesale orders we ship through FedEx. So
That's great. How does it, like, let's go back to your vision for everything when you first started and you were, creating the flavors, and Garden Gun was saying you won this award, to today. How does it all line up with, did it all come true? Are there, like, what's the thing that stayed truest to what you thought would happen?
Well, when I was creating those flavors, I'm not a trained chef, but at all. But I love to create new flavors, and I love to cook, and the kitchen is my hobby. So
Mm.
when I was creating, and I'm not a big just eating jam on toast person. I back in the day, I could see the benefit of utilizing what I was creating to do more than just one thing with, because I had a pantry full of jarred jam. So, I was trying to, so, so I took that same concept when we launched this business. I said, we can't just be another jam. We've got to show people really how to use this like they did in the
Hmm.
old days when there was no refrigeration.
Right.
People, this is a lot, everything I've done is really nothing new. It's just, um, that's how we lived, before
Uh,
we had, yeah. So that's really what's carried us through, that I can honestly say. And to this day, we still, that's a big part of our business, is we're constantly looking at new ways to utilize our product line, and doing the recipes and the photo shoots, and educating people on how to use our products.
that's awesome. And you're doing something with Darius Rucker now too, correct?
Yes, they came to us several years ago. They launched a line of whiskey, and we were out working with them, creating cocktails with their new whiskey. So they fell in love with our peach mint, and approached us about using that to actually flavor, um, make a flavored whiskey. And then Darius loved, um, cinnamon, so they wanted a cinnamon flavored whiskey. So we developed, a product just for them, and they call it Cinnapepper. So so that's been fun and exciting. And most of the flavored alcohols that are on the market are flavorings that they're just adding to. But so they took our product, which is made from real fresh fruit ingredients that we're getting straight from the field. And in the case of the cinnamon, we're using, real cinnamon sticks, not flavoring. And
Wow,
yeah, and they're delicious. So
that's
we're,
awesome.
yeah.
That's great. Very exciting. We cannot not talk about you, the greatest demo guy slash delivery guy, Gary, who defines himself as Sally's greatest husband.
Well, I
He-
I don't know who would take first place there, you or him.
right.
That's
Yeah. Yeah. I've been out of practice with it, but I can still sell that jam because it's food. A and B. I love it. I'll tell you. One of my favorite jams that you have. Of course, I love the blueberry lavender, like I said, with the blue cheese crumbles. That's a great crowd pleaser, and people are shocked, and I think they remember it more because it's blue cheese and jam. How odd! But the blackberry spice sage to me is like the jam that I tried at my grandmother's house years ago, and have never found a jam that tasted like that. That's that jam, and at the same time, it goes great on like sliced sausage or something like that. If for a charcuterie uh, table, that is it's just a great flavor, and it's a lot of nostalgia in that one. So thanks for that one as well.
well. Thank you. So, and we try to keep Gary straight.
Yeah, he's, he does a good job, but he wears many hats too. Um, so, what's next for Sally's Greatest?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. Well, luckily we see that our focus that should be, and we continue to focus on our the restaurant, what we call the food service line of our products. And there's all kind of new fun restaurants in the distilleries and the breweries that are opening up everywhere, and
Mhm.
that's a huge opportunity for us. So
Yeah.
we continue along that lines. I think we'll always want to stay art to stay artisan and specialty. You
Mhm.
have to keep that focused, and you know, and work more, local. We kind of learned our lesson on that, so we'll continue to grow our business that way.
That's awesome. I think, the key word again, focus, and focus on who you know and where you are, and the rest just kind of comes. Sally, what's the website? Where can we buy Sally's Greatest other than Crave? Where can we buy Sally's Greatest?
Absolutely. Well, definitely crave. But our website is salliesgreatest.com, and that's Sally spelled with an IE, SALLIESGREATEST.com.
All right, that's great. Sally, thank you so much for spending some time with us. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. And I look real forward to having your jam again in some way on pork or cheese or toast or whatever.
Well, yes, and I want to come in soon and get one of those sandwiches that are so delicious.
You know right where we are.
I'm going to be there. Thank you for having me,
Thanks,
John.
Sally.
I really appreciate it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.